Welcome to the History AI podcast, where the past comes alive with facts, anecdotes, and a dash of humor. Here are your hosts, Chuck and Marco.
Welcome to the History AI podcast. I'm Chuck.
And I'm Marco. Today, we're diving into a pivotal World War I battle, the Battle of Amiens.
Before we dive into the specifics of the Battle of Amiens, let's paint a picture of the world in 1918. The Great War, or World War I, had been raging for 4 brutal years, reshaping not just the map but the very nature of warfare.
That's right, Chuck. By 1918, Europe was in turmoil. The war had started in 1914, following the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary. This event triggered a chain reaction, with major powers being drawn into the conflict due to a complex web of alliances.
The war was characterized by trench warfare, especially on the Western Front. This was a line of trenches stretching from the North Sea to the Swiss border. Soldiers lived and fought in these trenches, facing horrific conditions and the constant threat of enemy fire.
The Western Front had become a stalemate, with neither the Allies, France, Britain, and later the United States, nor the Central Powers, led by Germany and Austria-Hungary, able to make significant advances.
Meanwhile, the Eastern Front had seen a different turn of events. Russia, initially part of the Allies, had undergone the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917. This led to their withdrawal from the war, which was a significant development.
Back on the Western Front, 1917 had been a year of significant battles, like Passchendaele and Cambrai. These battles had shown the potential of new warfare technologies like tanks and aircraft, but they had also resulted in massive casualties without decisive results.
And then there's the home front. The war had taken a toll on civilian populations. Food shortages, economic strain, and the Spanish flu pandemic added to the general sense of war weariness across Europe.
Absolutely, Chuck. And it's in this context that the Battle of Amiens comes into play. By mid-1918, the Allies were planning a major offensive, hoping to break the deadlock on the Western Front. And the German army, though formidable, was starting to show signs of strain.
This stage was set for what would become a pivotal moment in World War I. The Battle of Amiens wasn't just another battle, it was a harbinger of change in the way war was waged and a critical step towards ending the global conflict. Let's delve into the troops and objectives of the Battle of Amiens. The Allied forces, known for their diversity and strength, were meticulously assembled for this crucial offensive.
Indeed, Chuck. The Allied commanders brought together an impressive multinational force. The British Fourth Army, under General Sir Henry Rawlinson, was at the forefront. This army included the Australian Corps led by General John Monash, and the Canadian Corps commanded by General Sir Arthur Currie.
These corps were renowned for their effectiveness. The Australians had demonstrated their prowess in battles like Hamel, using innovative tactics. The Canadians, too, had earned a reputation as formidable assault troops, especially after their success at Vimy Ridge.
Additionally, the British Fourth Army included several British divisions, known for their resilience and combat experience gained over the years of trench warfare. There was also significant French participation, with the French Third Army under General Georges Humbert playing a crucial role on the southern flank of the offensive.
The diversity of these troops wasn't just in nationality. It included a mix of infantry, cavalry, and the crucial addition of tank units, which were relatively new to the battlefield. The British Tank Corps, equipped with improved Mark V tanks, was integral to the plan.
And let's not forget the role of the Royal Air Force, formed just months before the battle. They provided crucial aerial reconnaissance, intelligence gathering, and even direct ground support through bombing and strafing runs.
As for objectives, the Allies had several key goals. Firstly, they aimed to break through the German lines at Amiens, a strategically vital area. This would disrupt the German rail network and weaken their ability to supply their front lines.
The operation was also designed to force the Germans to retreat from the occupied territories in France and Belgium. It was a crucial step in liberating these regions and pushing the Germans back towards their own borders.
Additionally, the Allies hoped this attack would boost morale and demonstrate that a coordinated, combined arms assault could effectively break the stalemate of trench warfare.
Exactly, Chuck. The Battle of Amiens was as much about breaking the physical lines as it was about breaking the psychological hold that trench warfare had on both sides. It was a bold statement that mobility, innovation, and international cooperation could pave the way to victory.
With these diverse forces and ambitious objectives, the stage was set for a battle that would be remembered as a turning point in the First World War. The Battle of Amiens, commencing on August 8, 1918, marked a significant shift in the tide of World War I. Let's delve into how this battle unfolded and the remarkable stories of heroism that emerged.
The opening of the battle was marked by a massive, coordinated artillery barrage using over 2,000 guns. This surprise attack was crucial and was executed with a new tactic: no preliminary bombardment. This was designed to maintain the element of surprise against the German forces.
As the artillery roared, the Allied infantry, supported by tanks, advanced. The Australian and Canadian Corps led the charge. They moved quickly, exploiting gaps created by the artillery and tanks. The use of armored vehicles was revolutionary, providing cover and firepower that allowed the infantry to advance with fewer casualties.
The Mark V tanks played a pivotal role. They crushed barbed wire defenses and took out German machine gun nests, clearing the way for the infantry. Meanwhile, the British and French units on the flanks advanced, squeezing the German defenses.
In the skies, the newly formed Royal Air Force demonstrated its value. Pilots conducted low-flying missions, providing reconnaissance, attacking German positions, and even dropping ammunition and supplies to frontline troops.
Now, let's highlight some individual acts of heroism. Australian General John Monash orchestrated the battle's plan, showcasing innovative military strategy. His leadership was crucial in the success of the Australian Corps.
Canadian General Arthur Currie's leadership was equally vital. He masterfully maneuvered the Canadian forces, maintaining momentum and capturing key objectives.
Individual acts of bravery were countless. There's the story of Sergeant Thomas Holmes, a Canadian soldier who single-handedly charged a German machine gun nest, capturing it and taking several prisoners.
And Private Henry Dalziel, an Australian soldier, displayed extraordinary bravery. Despite being wounded, he continued to fight, silencing a German machine gun post.
These stories represent just a fraction of the courage shown by thousands of soldiers. Their bravery and determination underpinned the Allied success.
The battle continued for several days, with the Allies making significant gains. They pushed the German forces back, capturing important strategic positions and equipment.
The success was not just due to sheer firepower or numbers, but also due to the integration of different arms of the military, innovative tactics, and the unyielding courage of those who fought.
Indeed, Marco. The Battle of Amiens, with its blend of strategy, bravery, and technological innovation, marked a significant shift in the First World War, setting the stage for the final push towards an armistice. To truly understand the Battle of Amiens, we need to dive into the timeline and the tactics employed. This wasn't just a battle, it was a choreographed dance of military strategy and innovation.
Right, Chuck. The battle commenced on August 8, 1918, with a surprise artillery barrage at 4:20 a.m. This marked a departure from previous battles, where prolonged artillery bombardments would precede infantry attacks. The element of surprise was crucial.
In the first few hours, the Allied forces, particularly the Australian and Canadian Corps, made significant advances. They were aided by over 500 tanks, which played a critical role in breaking through German defenses.
The tanks, including the new Mark V model, were used not just for direct combat but also for cutting through barbed wire and clearing paths for the infantry. This was a significant evolution from earlier battles, where tanks were used more sporadically.
As the day progressed, the Allies captured key objectives. The town of Villers-Bretonneux, an important strategic location, was taken by Australian forces, which helped in cutting off German supply lines.
By the end of the first day, the Allies had advanced up to 8 miles in some areas, a remarkable feat considering the stagnant nature of trench warfare that had characterized much of the Western Front.
The following days saw continued Allied advancement, although at a slower pace. The German forces began to regroup and mount stronger resistance. Counterattacks were launched, but the Allied momentum, coupled with air support, made these largely ineffective.
The role of the Royal Air Force cannot be overstated. They provided not only reconnaissance and bombing runs but also strafed German troops and transport lines, disrupting their ability to regroup and resupply.
Another key tactic was the use of leapfrogging. Infantry units would bypass strong points, leaving them to be dealt with by follow-up troops. This allowed for a continuous forward movement without getting bogged down in protracted engagements.
By August 12, the battle had effectively concluded. The Allies had successfully pushed the German forces back but were unable to completely break through the Hindenburg Line, the main German defensive position.
The Battle of Amiens showcased a shift in tactics from attrition warfare to combined arms and mobility. It demonstrated the effectiveness of integrating infantry, tanks, artillery, and air power into a cohesive offensive force.
And it's worth noting, Chuck, that these tactics would not only define the remainder of World War I but also influence military strategies in future conflicts. The Battle of Amiens was, in many ways, a precursor to modern warfare.
While the Battle of Amiens marked a significant Allied victory, it came at a heavy cost. The casualties and the German resistance are key aspects that underline the harsh realities of this battle.
Absolutely, Chuck. The casualties were substantial on both sides. The Allies, although successful in their objectives, suffered significant losses. Over the course of the battle, which lasted until August 12, the British Fourth Army alone reported approximately 22,000 casualties.
The Australian and Canadian Corps, despite their effective tactics and bravery, also faced heavy losses. The Australians reported over 6,000 casualties, while the Canadians suffered around 9,000. These numbers reflect the intense fighting and the risks undertaken in storming heavily fortified German positions.
On the German side, the toll was also severe. They suffered approximately 75,000 casualties, including prisoners taken by the Allies. This was a huge blow to the German military, both in terms of manpower and morale.
The battle also had a significant psychological impact on the German troops. General Erich Ludendorff, one of the top German commanders, described August 8 as the Black Day of the German army. This despair was indicative of the declining morale among German soldiers, exacerbated by the effectiveness of the Allied offensive.
German resistance, while initially caught off guard, was fierce and determined. The German forces conducted several counterattacks in an attempt to regain lost ground. They fought tenaciously, utilizing machine guns, artillery, and even aerial countermeasures.
The German army was known for its discipline and combat effectiveness, and even in retreat, they inflicted significant damage on the advancing Allies. Their strategic withdrawal allowed them to avoid encirclement and maintain a cohesive defensive line, albeit further back than before.
The resistance also highlighted the challenges of maintaining momentum in an offensive. As the Allies pushed forward, they faced logistical challenges, with supply lines becoming overstretched. This, combined with the determined German defense, eventually slowed the Allied advance.
The terrain played a role too. The destruction caused by earlier battles and bombardments had turned much of the battlefield into a difficult landscape, hampering movement and making it easier for the Germans to defend in some areas.
In summary, the Battle of Amiens, while a remarkable Allied victory, was a stark reminder of the brutal nature of World War I combat. The casualties and resistance serve as a testament to the determination and sacrifice of the soldiers on both sides.
The Battle of Amiens wasn't just another engagement in World War I, it had a profound impact on the entire course of the war. Its strategic significance and the changes it brought to warfare are worth examining in detail.
Absolutely, Chuck. Firstly, the Battle of Amiens marked the beginning of the end for Germany in World War I. The success of the Allied forces at Amiens was a huge blow to German morale and their military capabilities.
Indeed, Marco. The battle demonstrated the effectiveness of new warfare tactics, especially the combined use of infantry, tanks, and air power. This was a significant shift from the stagnant trench warfare that had dominated the Western Front.
The psychological impact on the German forces was massive. The Black Day of the German army, as General Ludendorff called it, led to a noticeable decline in the morale of German troops. This, combined with the physical losses, weakened their ability to sustain prolonged combat effectively.
The Battle of Amiens also forced the German High Command to reconsider their strategy. Until then, they had been planning a series of offensives, but Amiens forced them onto the defensive. It disrupted their plans and accelerated the shift in momentum towards the Allies.
And let's talk about the Allied side. The victory at Amiens boosted Allied morale significantly. It was a clear demonstration that the war could be won, and it galvanized the forces for subsequent offensives.
This battle also set the stage for a series of Allied attacks, known as the 100 Days Offensive, which would eventually lead to the end of the war. Following Amiens, the Allied forces, with renewed vigor and confidence in their tactics, launched continuous assaults against the German lines.
The success at Amiens also had a diplomatic impact. It bolstered the Allies' standing in international politics, and weakened the Central Powers' resolve and ability to negotiate from a position of strength.
In a broader sense, the Battle of Amiens marked a turning point in military history. It showcased a move towards modern warfare tactics, which would influence military strategies for decades to come.
As we reflect on the Battle of Amiens, we're reminded of the horrors of war, but also the bravery of those who fought.
Absolutely, Marco. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on the History AI podcast.
Don't forget to rate, follow, and share our podcast. And if you have a topic you'd like us to explore, let us know on social media.
Until next time, keep exploring history. From the mind behind the History AI podcast comes an electrifying journey into the past. A ripple through time, Franklin's Folly. Dive into a tale where Benjamin Franklin, America's beloved inventor, takes an unexpected journey through time. But with his leap, he unleashes a powerful ripple. Now, with dark forces lurking in the shadows, harnessing this energy to shatter and enslave the world, it's a race against time. Will Franklin fix the future? Or will history rewrite itself? Uncover the secrets. A ripple through time, Franklin's Folly. Time has never been more fragile. On Amazon now.